Park is on ITV2 now. While here, the People's tenor Russell Watson talks to Tonight about his incredible battle for survival.
Tonight, opera star Russell Watson, fighting for life.
I just remember these two little blonde angels kind of striding into the room, and their faces when they saw the dad. I didn't think I was going to be all right. Not for a minute, actually. I felt like it was goodbye to the children.
The brain tumor that threatened his career.
Was that the moment you felt, I may not make this?
I think so. It was almost like me saying to myself, I knew it. I knew I wasn't going to make the 40 mark. Damn.
After treatment, will he ever sing again?
It was like performance time. When I go out on stage, it's me. Nobody else, it's me. It's my gig. I felt like, right, this is the biggest concert of your life, pal. Let's get through this.
Last weekend, Manchester City Stadium, and one of the biggest challenges of Russell Watson's career.
There you go. Warm-up complete. It's a massive performance, and it's in Manchester, right on my doorstep, for probably the best boxer that Manchester's ever produced.
It's his friend Ricky Hatton's homecoming fight, and Russell's been asked to sing before the headline bout.
I'm not sure what it's going to feel like out there until I actually get out there, because it's been nearly a year since I've done anything like this, so I don't know. Until I get out there, I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue...
It's only a matter of weeks since Russell completed treatment for a brain tumor. Will he still be able to perform?
Mr. Russell Watson.
It was the beginning of a new chapter for him, just 11 weeks after completing radiotherapy treatment here at Christie's Hospital for a brain tumor which almost took his life. Tonight he talks for the first time about the battle to recover, how he risked his life for one final day with his daughters, and how the experience has changed his life.
We used to play football on here.
Russell Watson was born and raised here in Salford. He's enjoyed enormous success as the people's tenor, performing in arenas around the world. His career began when he won a competition held at his local pub.
It was a period of about 2 or 3 weeks. I'd gone from working in a nuts and bolts factory to kind of having a little bit of a career doing the clubs and pubs. I remember the day after I'd won the competition, I walked in to my manager's office and I said, Phil, it's time for me to move on, mate. He was like, sorry? I said, it's time for me to move on. What do you mean, move on? I said, well, I'm leaving. Well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to be a singer. He went, well, see you next week then, Russell. Thank you.
Russell Watson has sold over 7 million albums worldwide. His album, The Voice, stayed at #1 spot in the classical charts for a record-breaking year. The Salford lad became a global superstar. He has sung before prime ministers, presidents, the royal family, and even the Pope. In 2006, after winning his 4th Classical Brit Award, Russell became ill.
When did you first detect that there was something wrong with your health?
I don't know, it may have been about 4 or 5 years ago. It was in Oban. I was walking down the lane, and I remember this pain around about here, the bridge of my nose, that literally felt like someone was pushing a dagger into my head. And it was just excruciating.
Did you think it might be stress-related?
I went to see a particular specialist in Manchester, and he had a look at me and basically told me that
It was stress. It's just stress. And I remember going away thinking, you know, the only thing here that's stressing me is the pain that I've got in my head. It was only later when I'd mentioned it to, I think, one of the surgeons, that he said that was possibly the tumour breaking through the top of the bone of the nose.
In fact, Russell had a tumour on his pituitary gland, just behind his right eye. The diagnosis was devastating. Although it wasn't cancerous, the tumour was still dangerous and potentially life-threatening.
Did they explain to you what it was, and did they give you any idea what the prognosis was?
Yeah, they did. Basically, if I didn't get it operated on post-haste, then I would go blind. And then, if I left it any longer, it'd be lights out permanently. So, it was very scary.
Tough news to take.
Yeah, especially when you've got 2 kids. You know, the relationship that I have with the children is a very, very special
You must
one.
have thought a lot about them at that moment.
It's amazing how you recognise where your loyalties, where your priorities in life lie at moments like this. And all I could think about was the kids.
Was that the moment you felt, I may not make this?
I think so. I think as soon as the diagnosis was made, I think as soon as I'd been told, that was probably the moment where I thought, it was almost like me saying to myself, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. I knew I wasn't going to make the 40 mark. Damn.
After an operation to remove the tumour in 2006 and an apparently remarkable recovery, Russell felt well enough to begin touring again. But while recording a new album in October 2007, he began to feel unwell. Disaster had struck. The tumour was back.
Tell me what happened when you were rushed to hospital that day.
It just felt like my head was going to explode, and by 7 o'clock in the morning, my bedroom light, which was, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet above my head, I couldn't see it. All I could see was it was like a kaleidoscope of, like there was a pane of glass in front of me and somebody had smashed this glass. And it was just, I couldn't make anything out. I put my hand in front of my face and it was just fuzzy. God, what the hell is this? Because the tumour was bleeding at 4 points. So I was hemorrhaging at 4 separate points, and my temperature was almost at 40 degrees, which is around the point where pyrexia kicks in and convulsions start, which would have been lights out for me with a tumour of that size, hemorrhaging, because the tumour would have just imploded. And I could hear people around. I was aware of people saying, hemorrhage, theatre, now, and thinking, oh my God, I'm dead. And for the first time, I think, throughout this whole experience, and it's been 2 years in total, but for the first time thinking, you know what, come and get me. Come on, come and get me. I'm here. Let's leave it now. I've had enough.
Russell knew that the surgery may kill him, and that if he did survive, he may never see or sing again. But after a long operation, Russell came round without a headache. The next battle, though, still lay ahead. A 5-week daily course of radiotherapy to kill off the parts of the tumour the surgeon couldn't reach. During his treatment, he recorded his thoughts in a video diary.
Halfway mark now with my lovely radiotherapy treatment, and it's been making me feel quite tired in the evenings. And today, after holding on for over 3 weeks, the first little bits of hair started to fall out. So.
Hi, Russell.
Hello, Tara.
Good to see you again.
You too,
How are you doing?
too. Very good, thank you.
Have a seat.
Russell's being carefully monitored by his consultant, Dr. Tara Kearney, to regulate his medication.
So what we're aiming to do now is get all your hormones normal, such that you're able to do exactly what you want to do,
Yeah.
as if you didn't have pituitary disease at all.
Yeah.
Not all of the tumour has been removed, so it's vital that the hospital
Okay.
keep a keen eye on any headaches or pain Russell has.
I know you've had this sort of tight band feeling.
You know, every now and then I get a little. It's more like, it's usually when I start feeling tired
Yeah.
or a little bit of stress. I just get a little. And it's not in any particular place. It's just random stabs. It just
Yeah.
feels like a sharp stab, and then
Yeah.
then it stops.
And your vision, how's that?
The left eye still feels. The left eye's not been great since the radiotherapy.
And a look in this eye first of all, okay?
Russell's medication must be just right for him to return to the career he loves. Regular MRI scans and checkups are crucial to see if the tumour has grown back.
The reality of it is that he needs to take medication and he needs regular monitoring, both in terms of bloods and in terms of scans. And for Russell, I think that has quite a large emotional baggage with it. It's not the case that you can just sling everything into a bag and set off on your trips and whiz around the world and accept invitations. Everything has to be planned. He has to be much more cautious.
In late October last year, when Russell was rushed into hospital, he was told that emergency surgery was vital or he would die. He begged the doctors to allow him time with his daughters before they took him down.
What did you say to your daughters this time? Because you had the problem of confronting them with bad news of this sort before.
I just remember these two little blonde angels kind of striding into the room, and their faces when they saw the dad with tubes coming out of his hands and a mask on. The whole thing was just pretty poor, really. And I remember Rebecca, who's 13, she just looked at me and she just went, "Dad, are you all right?" And Hannah, my 7-year-old, she just stood at the end of the bed and she was just staring at me, just intently, like, "What's the matter?" And I said, "It's okay, come here, I'm going to be all right." I didn't think I was going to be all right. Not for a minute, actually. I felt like it was goodbye to the children, and that was difficult. And we had a hug and a kiss, and you know, the usual thing that I do with the kids. And then they left, and that was.
It's a bit of a lonely feeling.
Yeah, but you know what? Once they'd left, it was almost like performance time. It was my gig, and I go out there. There's no support, there's no family, there's no friends. It's all about me and the audience. And that's what I felt like after the kids had left. I felt like, right, this is the biggest concert of your life, pal. Let's get through this.
Now, you may be able to detect a slight hint of hysteria in my voice today, and there is a good reason for that. It's my last visit to the radiotherapist, and as much as I do love the ladies down there at Christie's and the daily banter that I've been having with them for the last 5 weeks, I will be glad to see the back of the nuclear accelerator that I've been sitting in for the last month and a half.
Did you actually walk through here?
Every day.
Today is the first day that Russell's been back to the unit where he was treated.
Oh, ladies!
And there they are to see you again.
How are you?
Yeah, lovely to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
Looking a bit better, aren't I?
And what
Just
sort
got
of
to
patient?
preempt that.
This room was once somewhere Russell dreaded going.
Accelerator.
Give me an idea of what this does. You talked to me about putting your head in something. Is that where you put your head?
Yeah, these things come off here,
Right.
and then this pulls out, and this is the. I think this is my mouthpiece actually. So
My goodness me.
this fits in here, and then sucks in through there, and then they basically, you lie down, your head goes in there,
You're clamped.
and
on
then
both
you're
sides.
clamped so that your head can't move, and then they lock you in with this, and if you get a panic attack, which I did,
but I actually didn't pull the thing.
So if you get a panic attack, you can pull this to ask them to...
And you can get out straight away.
You can get out.
I think for the children, it was a difficult year. It's been a difficult 12 months for the children because they've had to see me in a condition that I don't think any parent would want their child to see or experience. And so I think they've seen a true and a real vulnerability with their father. How long did it take you to recover? I know.
Well, the first week, I was fine.
Yeah.
I came out of every session going, oh, that's no problem. They told me I'd be tired.
Me too. Second week.
Lack of funding for research into the treatment of malignant brain tumours means that survival rates are no better now than they were 40 years ago. And as there are over 120 different types of brain tumours, effective treatment is very complicated.
Exactly where to...
I see.
Is his house broken?
Russell is keen to use his profile to raise awareness of this deadly disease. His tumour has been successfully treated. Others are not so lucky.
Yeah, I noticed Sam's health was changing around the August of that year, 2005. She was showing symptoms of lethargy, and her personality was changing, whereby she didn't have she used to sort of radiate loads of confidence, and that had somehow been sapped from her, which seemed a bit odd.
After numerous trips to the doctors, Samantha was finally called in for a scan, and James was told she had a brain tumour.
That was a bombshell, absolute bombshell. I mean, for me, I was just, it hadn't crossed my mind. It had never crossed my mind once, and I don't think it had crossed Sam's mind it was anything so serious. But when you hear the words brain tumour, immediately you think death. And that's not the case with a lot of brain tumours. But with Sam's kind of brain tumour, which is the most common of the malignants, as we learned later on, that's exactly what it meant.
After a 5-month battle with the cancer, Sam died. She was 27 years old and left James to bring up daughter Sophie on his own.
I went in and held Sam's hand. I think it might be moving the age. Her breathing was very, very slow. And holding her hand, I said, Sam, you fought so hard. Sophie and I are so proud of you. We always will be. Soph's going to be okay. If you want to pass away, pass away. And she passed away at that moment. All because of a brain tumour. A very short journey from diagnosis to death, and a horrible, horrible journey.
Despite losing his wife so cruelly, James is determined that the public becomes more aware of this often silent and deadly illness.
Sam and I discussed this, that you've got to get something positive out of everything. And I've kept myself busy with trying to raise awareness of this devastating illness through charity work and interviews such as this. Because things haven't changed for the patients or the families in any way in terms of prognosis or quality of life for 40 years. And to me, that's criminal.
James raises money by cycling for Andrea's Gift, a charity which raises funds for better treatment and one day perhaps even a cure for brain tumours.
I think if you have a persistent headache that you can't explain, and you have vision problems, or you have any symptoms that you may have a hormonal dysfunction, then I think the wise thing to do is to go to your GP and allow your GP to do some hormone tests and some vision tests. And also a trip to the optician is useful, just to check that your visual fields are normal. But again, it needs to be stressed that most people would just have a stress headache or would just have irregular periods for other reasons, and pituitary tumours are rare. However, rare things occur, so it's important to get them checked out.
Were there any moments when you were worried, despite having undergone all this, that the tumour might return?
Always, even now. I think maybe because of the second time, there's always that inbuilt fear that this thing could decide to come back at any point.
There was a moment when the electricity went off when you thought you'd lost your sight again.
God, yeah, that was so scary. Pathetic, but scary. On my part, certainly. I was upstairs and I was brushing my hair or something. I was looking in the mirror. Okay. And all of a sudden, bang! Complete blackout. And I remember those words ringing in my ear. If you lose it, it'll be complete blackout. You won't be able to see shadows. It'll just be black. Your optic nerve snaps. It's gone. And I thought to myself, oh my God, my optic nerve's gone. I'm blind. And I heard Rebecca shout up, "It's all right, Dad. The electric's gone off." And my heart was pounding out of my chest. I thought I'd gone blind.
It's now 11 weeks since his treatment ended, and Russell's first public performance is just around the corner. His friends rally round for support.
You can't think how far he's come in 6 months after seeing him when we ended up at the hospital that night. And to see him now, it's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly exciting. We've just been away for a few days in Spain, where it's the first time I think we've had a really focused kind of recording few days, and that's very exciting to get that back on track and just get that creative thing going again, isn't it? You know,
I got a real emotional lift from that, from starting singing again. And
you can hear that as well.
Yeah.
Russell Watson knows how lucky he's been. He's built a recording studio at home, so he doesn't need to travel to work as much as he once did.
How important is it now to have this facility so close to you?
It's proving to be incredibly important, actually, because it just means it's a couple of yards across from the house, and I'm able to do what I do best. And it's been a real boost for me as well, to get back to work and to get back to singing and get back to being creative has given me a real moral lift after everything that I've been through.
Russell's determined that his illness will not stop him recording.
Oof,
that's
always.
What has happened down here is the winds have changed.
Push tab.
Cloud rolling from the north,
which is verb,
and it started to rain.
Has it given you a new view about your future, the future?
I used to be the type of person that was always thinking about the future. And one of the fundamental differences now with my life from before is that I'm living for now, for the moment.
He succeeds in beating his demons and raises the roof in the packed Manchester Stadium. This marks the beginning of his return to full voice. In a fortnight, he will start a grueling 15-date tour. For more information on any of the issues covered in tonight's program, log on to itv.com/tonight. Coming up on Monday, the fat bribe. While the government considers offering financial incentives to encourage the overweight to slim, Fiona Foster puts the idea to the test in a unique Tonight experiment.
We're going to give you a financial incentive. The blue team will not be getting a financial incentive.
Your total weight loss for your whole team, your total weight loss is...
Alistair Stewart's on the case and on the chase with a double bill of police camera action over on ITV4 now. Well, next year on ITV1, the fight is on between Steve and Dan as Coronation Street continues.